This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Good. That's promising.
Allison, can you hear us?
That looks good.
I can, much better.
Oh, wow. What happened? All right.
Did you hear us before?
No, I couldn't hear anything. I was so worried that it was me, and I tried multiple devices and realized it wasn't.
Yeah, no, it's for some reason we couldn't get the sound to work, so we apologize. So we were just going over the zoning. We read the definition. Councilor Kwasinski had a question.
Yeah, just a quick question regarding 18 in the definition section,
In the table 5-1.
5-1 table, and where it said permitted only in conforming and lawful pre-existing non-conforming dwellings. And it was interesting to see the language written in here. Was there a reason why that language was written in? I just thought it would be presumed, but maybe presume that you would only approve in those types of conditions, pre-existing, non-conforming, or in conforming. And I don't see it elsewhere in the table.
I'm sorry. So are you talking about the zoning ordinance right now?
Talking about the short-term rental zoning ordinance, table 5.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry, I had the general ordinance open. I, for some reason, don't have the
Zoning ordinance.
yeah, let me get that one. So permitted only in conforming and lawful pre-existing non-conforming dwellings. The reason that was added is that it's being allowed across the board, including like in an industrial zone. So you couldn't build a new short-term rental structure in an industrial zone because like a residence wouldn't normally be permitted. Am I explaining that well? So it's only allowed in districts where like a regular residence would be allowed, or in a district where there's an existing dwelling.
Then why wouldn't you eliminate the P from the table under I and MI?
Well, the idea is that there are some pre-existing non-conforming like apartments in those districts like right now. And I didn't think we'd want to preclude them from having the option of the short-term rental just because they're in that district. I mean, if we do, that's fine. We can just change it. Yeah, because there is always pre-existing non-conforming uses and structures in the other districts.
The presumption here is that you couldn't build a new rental unit, short-term rental unit within the industrial zone, but you could take an pre-existing rental unit, or that doesn't have to be a rental unit, but a pre-existing unit in the industrial or mill industrial zones, and allow that to have short-term rentals.
Yeah, exactly.
Tends to have those be short-term be included in the short-term rentals and not to be excluded necessarily. I can't see a reason why.
Yeah, that was my thinking as well. But at the same time, we don't want to take like a currently industrial property and build a house on it to use as a short-term rental when it otherwise wouldn't be allowed to be used like for a dwelling.
That wouldn't mix very well.
No, but you'd be surprised.
Oh, yes.
Other questions? There also, Allison, just so you are aware, there was a question about the 28 days. And again, it was 30 or more days as a tenancy at will. And so that's why it was established at 28 days.
Yeah, exactly. It's just to differentiate it from like a traditional long-term rental, which could even be month to month. So if you're over that 28 days, then you're just considered a regular dwelling unit.
Mm-hmm. Great. So there's no questions. Do we want to? I can accept a motion to send this to council to accept this, and then at that point it will be sent to the planning board, and then we'll have to set a joint meeting to a joint hearing. Sorry, joint hearing to review this and vote on it.
Well, I think that all makes sense. There's no other pieces to the short-term rental definition or the usage or to the ordinance. You say, or is this included with something else that's going?
Yep, so we've already talked about the short-term rental ordinance, but that's a general ordinance, so that will just go to council. And so our original thinking was that we are going to send this to zoning, then we will come back and we will, while it's there, we will come back and continue our conversation about the short-term rental general ordinance. And then when that comes back, we will send both of those to council at the same time.
This goes back to the council to go to zoning.
Yes.
To go to
the planning
the
board.
planning board.
Correct.
That makes sense. I'll move. Did you move? I'll second.
She moved.
You move. I'll second.
Great.
Thank
So any further discussion? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you for that, Allison. I will send this, we'll send this back to council and then we'll send that to the planning board. In terms of the general ordinance, as I said, I think what's going to be helpful at this point is for Councilor Kwasinski to get up to speed about the content of that, and then we can come back and have a further conversation, because it's actually not finalized.
Right.
We've spent a lot of time on it, and so we haven't made any decisions. I think we've narrowed it, but we haven't made a final decision about that. So I think that when you had time to read it and digest it, then we can come back and we can have a deeper dive conversation.
That would be excellent. Thank you.
That's right. We were waiting for you. We actually weren't, but hey, things happen. And all right, so we will.
Things happen. A lot's happened in the last week.
Yes, a lot has happened. So the next item on our agenda is the September 11th tribute ordinance. And I put this forward, or not, I'm sorry, tribute ordinance to start a committee to discuss this. And I'll just read off this. So for people in the public, it's to create an ordinance to establish a citywide committee to develop a permanent September 11th, 2021 tribute to honor the first responders and everyday civilians, people who lost their lives on that tragic morning. So I think that there has been a lot of discussion in the community that has centered around the ponds and the flag over the ponds. And the reason why I put this forward was that I think there was some confusion about why the flag was there. There's confusion about, there was discussion about that it was for September 11th, but then people were also saying this is for veterans. And then there was discussion that it's only up from Memorial Day to Veterans Day. And it just seems wholly appropriate to make a permanent monument, tribute, memorial, remembrance someplace on the property of the public safety building in order to be able to acknowledge the sacrifices that people made on that particular day. And so this ordinance basically establishes that committee. And I'll just read through this quickly, but then obviously we want to have a discussion. But one member shall be appointed from the police department, one member of the fire department. Police department appointed by the police chief, one member of the fire department appointed by the fire chief, one member shall be the Easthampton veteran agent or his or her designee, one member from the planning board appointed by the planning director, and the remaining vacancies shall represent community members. And this is intended to have 7 voting members. Yeah, so that's kind of the general gist. They will kind of decide what that would look like, what the purpose would be. My hope would be that, or this committee's hope would be, even though they would basically decide this, but, you know, creating something where maybe we had artists from the community put together a proposal for what that could look like. And then so they would put together, utilize their own resources for any materials or artifacts to commemorate that. And then certainly they would propose that back to the mayor and to city council, as well as budget and cost, et cetera. So happy to have further discussion about that, but that's just kind of the general kind of just of the overview of this. And we have our veterans agent here, and we have a representative from the fire department, a representative from the police, they're welcome at this time. If we have questions or anything like that, the police participate in the discussion.
I'm assuming that it will be the committee as a whole that would be determining where in Easthampton this will go. I saw online, for example, a lot of fire departments have it at the fire department, as opposed to City Hall here. So knowing that that's the fire and police complex, I just wasn't sure when those decisions would be made. And
yep. So I think originally within this, it's to be at the public safety complex. So it would be there, not just anywhere in the city, but it would be
inside or outside?
Probably outside.
Okay.
And that's how I would imagine it.
Is there a requirement? Are we looking for a recommendation for a permanent tribute for first responders and a recommendation for the location? And then the council would review this and decide if that is something the council agreed to?
Yeah, so I think that the purpose of this committee is that they would put forth that proposal of they would determine a location, they would determine what that would look like, they would request people to submit ideas and
Right.
what that could look like. They would submit that, right? And there would be 3 phases to this, right? And so at the varying phases, they would communicate that with city council, and then the next phase, they would put forth their kind of budget proposal, et cetera. And then kind of a final thing would also be agreed upon or brought back to city council. And then
Where would the funding for this come from?
yeah, great question. So I think that we would have to figure out if there are other grants available out there. There might be opportunities for donations of some kind that may contribute to that. So I think that the budget would either cost could come from grant funding or potentially from the city. So I think that we would have to figure that out, or the committee would have to figure that out.
Would it seem appropriate to say that the group that is selected or appointed by the mayor would then identify the location where the tribute shall be placed? Could we
Yeah, so.
leave it to that language?
Well, I think the idea is that it would be at the complex.
I know that that's what the proposal was.
Mhm.
And my recommendation would be that we consider the possibility of having the committee, the group, decide where they would feel this would be most appropriate. Perhaps it might be a plaque at the pond that would, just for example, might be an image of the flag over the pond at that location that you would, or the group might say, well, that makes sense, or something over there, something not necessarily tied to the public safety complex, but that it may be at the public safety complex, but that would be something that would be open for discussion. That would be up to you to.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I've done in the past when we've, put together monuments and stuff like that is we do site surveys of existing monuments to see what's out there, and then, compile all those ideas and everything like that and take that into consideration that, I know where you're going with that. The flag actually over the pond was put up for, right after 9/11 to bring the community together. So, I mean, that's stuff that's definitely, needs to be considered by the committee. But I mean, as far as where it's going and everything like that, I mean, I guess the ordinance kind of just, you would have to change the ordinance to not put it at the public safety complex, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think this is an option for discussion, right? So,
I mean, yeah, my only point was like, you want to not recreate the wheel as much as possible. You get all good ideas of existing monuments, and I know of quite a few around here that, we can do a site survey and take some pictures and bring it all back to the committee. So that's one of the starting points that I envision. And it's kind of worked out well for me, us in the past in the veterans community. So, those are the types of things that we'll be looking at. As far as funding goes, there's different ways to raise the money as well through the community. Considering it's something that's symbolic of bringing the community together, that might be a good way to go as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you either of you have thoughts or comments?
I think a lot of them are public safety complexes, but not all of them. Springfield's has created their own park along the water. So, I mean, there's options.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to decide which route we want to go.
Mm-hmm.
If we did it that way, then we could take the recommendation and see if we had additional input or not.
Mm-hmm.
And it may be that it's at the public safety complex, or it may not. There may be another location in the community, not necessarily at the farm, but somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we, at this point, ought to leave that open.
Mm-hmm.
What's the likelihood that this would all be done in time for September 11th, 2026, like the 25-year anniversary of it?
That I would hope that it could be.
Right? Is that what we would be aiming for?
It seems feasible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be great. There wasn't a deadline on this, right? But that was a goal, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Where is that actually? Location. Copy of post or some other location.
Or identify a location where the tribute shall be placed.
Location. Okay, good. You good?
Okay, what action are we needing?
Well, is there any, are we okay with this?
I'm okay with the first page, except that the word recommendation would be, I would insert the first sentence there, the second sentence. The purpose of this committee is to develop a recommendation for a permanent tribute to.
Purpose of this committee is to develop a
Recommendation
recommendation
For a,
for a tribute to the first responders and civilians.
for a permanent figure.
For permanent period. Yes, I didn't mean to include that.
Yeah,
That to get through the first page. Was there something on the second page?
There's, an extraneous capital on number 4. What? So hard.
Wait, how did I get
Giving
in
me
there?
so hard.
okay, then, anything? Yes,
Would it make sense to not necessarily commit to the public safety complex and leave it open to the committee to recommend to the mayor and to the council?
I think we did.
yep, so.
That's already,
Yep, so phase 1, number 2, identify a location where the tribute shall be placed.
oh, good.
You might hope it would be at this public safety, right? And that's for the community. So,
Let's feel there's one like right in the middle of the traffic pattern.
mhm.
Do you remember a few years back, firefighter wore all their gear and they were right in Snap Fitness just to just show how hard it was for the firefighters to climb that many flights. I just remember that was really like powerful.
Yeah, they have a lot of events where what they call stair climbs.
Yeah.
People put their gear on and sort of mimic
Yeah.
to the best of their ability. Certainly, there's a different level of stress in
Yeah.
a situation like that compared to when events actually occur.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Mhm. I guess I'll just say we have heard a lot about 9/11 over the years and different segues. It'll be nice to have something that is very specifically for it.
I was listening and thinking at the same time, so I'm sorry. If
It's okay to
if
say.
there was a sound that uttered by accident, I apologize.
Did you have comments?
I was thinking ahead, so.
Ahead could be now. You want to share?
Well, I'm happy to. Easthampton City Council proposed ordinance. Is this an ordinance? If so, where does it fit in? If not, is this a proposal to create a committee and not an ordinance necessarily?
Well, the committee,
So I was curious how you saw that.
well, in the charter, there's specific committees
Right.
that are fit within that. So,
I guess my question is, can we just pass this and ask for a committee to be formed by the mayor form the committee, or do we have to codify this somehow? And if so, where do we codify it?
well, in the charter, there's the various city committees that are in the charter. The Council on Aging is in the charter, the Veterans Council is in the charter.
We're not proposing a charter change. No.
Right, so, right, I see what you're saying.
So if we're proposing an ordinance, we need it to be
Right.
placed in the ordinances in a special
Right.
category and a location.
So, right, so we're creating,
Or are we creating a committee outside, within an existing ordinance and setting up for the request of a committee? Because I recall not passing an ordinance every time we set up a committee on
Right.
something. We just asked for a committee.
right, yep, so that makes sense. So
So
I think originally when I was thinking about this, it was something that wouldn't
You
be
had ordinance.
that hard. but it was
You had an
something that
ordinance on the brain.
Right, well, yeah, right,
Being an
so,
ordinance committee.
yeah, so, no, that makes sense. So we're establishing that committee then, and then outlining this criteria.
Right.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
So you're saying there's no action for ordinance to take?
I'm not sure there's an action specifically for the ordinance,
Ordinance.
within an ordinance to take, but for the committee to report it back to the full council, yes.
Yes.
So any committee can do any subject matter. We just happen to give ordinances to ordinance.
Right.
Yeah.
This to property. But so we've taken something on, you've taken something on, you have now, and we're passing it back to the council.
Right. So we don't have to set a public hearing then, because this is an ordinance change.
No,
Okay, great. Yep. So
It's good.
we don't have to have that. Okay, that makes sense. I was just looking at all of the committees, so I was thinking that and to give it more weight, but that makes sense. Otherwise, you'd have to create a charter change.
Will it go
we don't want to do
through
that, no.
the appointment subcommittee?
No, we would go
It would go back to,
back to the full council through the ordinance committee's report.
but then these
And
appointments would go to,
the appointments would go to
Appointments
the
committee.
normal process would be,
Yeah.
we'd set up something, and then the mayor would make the appointments and the appointment committee would approve them. Yes, right.
Okay.
So I was thinking procedurally to send this to the appointment, no.
yeah,
But the people would, so the applicant would be.
Yeah.
right.
Good question, though.
Well, you know.
I know,
it's my-
appointments.
Mhm. Because that's your committee. Other questions?
No.
Of course, we put this all in the mayor's hand, not in the council's having any appointment of. Do this.
Mhm.
Sometimes we've had the mayor do the appointment, sometimes you say 4 from and 3 from the council.
Yeah, do you have a recommendation or, I mean, I just,
Send a
it
member
was a
committee,
citywide kind of thing, so more people.
two to be appointed by the council.
Uh,
I don't need to.
I don't need to do that. It's not a requirement. It's not
Yeah.
something. I just wanted to run that by everybody.
mhm.
I think we're well represented with the current mayor.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I also think since it has to come back to us for the final, well, at least for the appointments, I don't need to. Beyond that, I don't feel like I need to fine tune it
Sure,
more about
good.
who's gonna be on it.
Good. Just wanted to cover that base.
Mhm. Yeah, I kind of assumed it would come through us anyway, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, so that's good.
Mhm.
I don't have any other comments.
There you are.
So I'll take a motion to send,
How would, this could change. Proposed ordinance to the head of,
promotes committee.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I.
I'll think of something else after we move it forward.
Okay.
Would like make a motion to accept this write-up of the Easthampton City Council Committee to create a September 11th tribute with the changes we've discussed here.
So that, we go to the dark with your motion, now second motion.
Great. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. So we will send this back to full council at the next city council meeting in August, because there's only one in July. And then from there, it'll go to the mayor and we'll confirm them. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
all
you.
three
Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all.
Thank you for the information you provided. I'm glad it comes up before the.
Thank you, Allison.
Have a good one.
See you. The other thing that we need to discuss just really quickly is, I mentioned this at the city council meeting, the request for a temporary moratorium on sewage sludge fertilizer in Easthampton. spoke with the president of the Agricultural Commission, and originally they had wanted to make statements, but after they became aware of the fact that the DEP, they're making their own set of guidelines around, or they're going to provide guidelines or around regarding sewage sludge, and they decided that they didn't want to put out anything. They also didn't want to alarm anybody. They did their own kind of investigation in terms of, are there businesses that sell such material? I'll call it material. And they had like the box stores and things like that, and they found that they didn't sell those things, which is part of the not wanting to be alarming. Their understanding is that what is coming out from the guidelines that are coming are going to fall somewhere between the guidelines that have been written in Maine and the guidelines that have been written in Connecticut more recently. And so they're anticipating that Massachusetts will fall somewhere between those two things. I know that you said you wanted to speak to one of the members of that.
Right.
So you're welcome to still do that. I'll probably reach out to that individual as well. But wanted to give you kind of, this was your original item. So I'm not sure. Do we want to keep this on our agenda? Do we want to move it without prejudice? Do we still want to have something written specifically for city property? So kind of open to, because this was, like I said, this was your original thing. So
I am really seriously still very much concerned about using any fertilizer containing PFAS, PFOAs on our soil in Easthampton, whether it be primarily farmland soils, where it'll get into the soil, and if it never goes away, then now what do we do with the soils? In Maine, some farms have closed for permanently, for not farmland. You take farmland totally off. We all hope that the state will come along, but there are a variety of political pressures involved in that decision-making process, including what to do with the sewage sludge. Basically, the issue is that, as I understand it, industrial waste goes into the sewage line, and then you may clean for bacteria, but you're not cleaning for any of the waste that goes into, and that's what creates the hazards. And when you take the sewage sludge raw, treated, all clean, organic, it's labeled, and people see organic on the shelves, or someone comes and says, well, we're going to spread organic. The farmers go, great, put it on my, and it's this cheap? Yeah, it's really cheap. That is a problem that I think years from now, people are going to look back and say, oh my gosh, no one made the effort to protect our farmland. And individual farmers facing economics that may very well choose the cheaper product without knowing. I think we need to continue to keep this before the public. And if we need further resolution and strength to pass something, I think an easier things to pass would be either a resolution, or which is too mild, in my opinion. In my opinion, to say that we would limit what we put on municipal soil, municipal products, or municipal soil, and define it if we could. So we would have to develop that ordinance. To say that we would want a moratorium on that product as we studied the subject, that could be an easy pass for our next meeting. But I think it would be better to create an actual ordinance which kind of defined it together. I don't know how the committee feels about that.
I don't have strong feelings one way or the other about it. I, when this was on here before, it wasn't like, get it off, you know,
Right.
so I am not, I would be fine keeping it on and continuing. I wonder if it would be more appropriate to have the like Board of Health say, we don't know enough about the side effects of this yet to feel comfortable, versus the City Council. Because everything you're saying so far would be more health related.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think?
I haven't had a conversation with the Board of Health.
Mm-hmm.
Have you, Connie? No.
Mm-mm.
So
I
that
think
was,
that's to fill them in and get their reading on it
Mhm.
would be appropriate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we were working primarily with the Agricultural Commission because it directly impacted farmland, right?
Mhm.
For those who are maybe hearing this for the first time. So yeah, I certainly think when we think about public health,
Mhm.
right, that could have long-term impact. I think the question is, do you want to kind of create a draft that you can bring to us that would kind of look at this ordinance? Because I don't think we haven't written anything, right? Because I think we've been trying to get a sense of what does the Agricultural Commission, want to do, et cetera. So I think it's just we've been trying to do a little bit of research to get some understanding of things like that. But, it might be helpful if you could create a kind of a starting draft that we could kind of then look at to review that.
Limited to municipal property.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that's more manageable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was a lot of concern and question from some of the members of the Agricultural Commission about, Easthampton is a right to farm
Mhm.
community. And so I think there was a lot of, we don't want to inhibit or preclude farmers from
Yeah.
utilizing processes that are best suited for them. So I think that's where I think we've tried to navigate that as they kind of work through those conversations amongst themselves, because I think they were in varying places themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When it comes to PFAS.
Yeah.
Right. It was such a new topic and a new subject for many people
Mm-hmm.
that it really requires much education.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So there's a couple of other items on here that months ago, as we were working through these pieces, I think you and I had divvied up some differing items for the residency requirements that we'll come back to as we continue to move forward. I'm going to be away until August 11th, but I will if we could schedule a meeting after that. Are folks going to be around?
Mhm.
I'll be away.
Great. Because I think that will give you time, Counselor Kwasinski, to read through the ordinance, develop some questions that you might have, and then we can come back. At the same time, we know that the zoning ordinance will have been sent to the planning board. And then as they're working on that, we can continue to finalize what we have with the short-term rental general ordinance,
Okay.
right? Does that sound like a good game plan?
Mhm.
Because I know members of the community are waiting very patiently for us to come to some sort of conclusion with the,
You could take as long as you want.
Don't say that.
No, I really.
So I would have space on the week of August 18th through the 22nd,
Okay,
but the week before that and the week after that, I'm a little less available.
Okay.
I believe I'm available the 18th.
So let's see, August 18th.
We have a Thursday.
That's a Monday. So do we want to do August 18th at 5 p.m.?
Sure.
I prefer not to do a Monday at this point.
Oh, so we're not going to do that.
I like Thursdays work out nicely.
So Thursday, the 21st, I have a bees committee meeting at 6, so I could do 5.
I can do that.
Sure.
Allison, does August 21st work for you at 5 p.m.?
Are we looking at the 21st or the 24th?
21st, that's a Thursday.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in July. That's my problem here.
It's 21st.
At 5, yes, that I can do.
Okay. At
I have
5.
CPA at 6:30, but you said bees is at 6, right? So it'll
Yeah.
be done by then anyways. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Ordinance. I will let Marianne know, and we will kind of move with that. Great. And then we'll have to come back to the ordinance review committee final report. I know that Salem worked primarily on that, so we'll probably get to that after. Although we will love working with you, we'll probably wait until after his return so that we can kind of do that, because I know he put a bunch of work into that. The Affordable and Fair Housing Partnership zoning ordinances, I know that they are meeting with the Aquifer Protection, so we're just waiting for them to kind of engage in those discussions, and then the other items will kind of continue to make progress on.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, I'd make a motion to adjourn.
No, second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you so much, Allison. Sorry about the technical problems there that we had.
No worries. No worries.
All right. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bye.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.